Hey Commanders fans, welcome back to Commanders HQ, where we break down everything happening inside Ashburn with passion, insight, and that die-hard burgundy and gold energy. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Every click of support helps us keep bringing you exclusive coverage. And trust me, today's story is one you don't want to miss. This Commanders team is constantly striving to get better. Dan Quinn preaches it, Adam Peters builds around it, and every player in that locker room is buying into the idea that perfection is a pursuit, not a destination. But as the Commanders prepare for a massive Monday Night Football showdown with the Chicago Bears, one of the team's most important pieces might not be ready to go: Terry McLaurin. And while his status remains uncertain, a new identity has quietly emerged on offense, one powered by grit, toughness, and a pair of unheralded tight ends who are redefining what it means to play physical football in the modern NFL. Let's get into it. So here's where things stand. According to multiple reports, including Ben Standig's post on X, Terry McLaurin missed practice on Thursday, joining Deebo Samuel and Chris Rodriguez Jr. on the did not participate list. That immediately sent a ripple through Commanders Nation. McLaurin hasn't played since Week 3, when he had his best performance of the season, hauling in 3 catches for 74 yards in the win over the Raiders before going down with an injury late in the game. Dan Quinn tried to ease concerns when he met with reporters. His message was simple: stay patient. You'll see Noah Brown out at practice today. Terry won't. But with the extra day before Monday night, we'll just kind of work our way through it and see where we're at. So there's optimism. But there's also a level of caution here. Quinn is not the type to rush anyone back, especially a cornerstone player like McLaurin, who's as competitive as anyone on this roster. It's important to remember, McLaurin has been remarkably durable throughout his career. He started nearly every game since entering the league in 2019. So this stretch of missed time feels strange, almost unfamiliar to fans used to seeing number 17 battling through anything. Still, Quinn's optimism hints that this isn't a long-term setback, more of a cautious approach to protect one of their most valuable leaders. And the silver lining? The Commanders have been finding ways to thrive even without their captain on the field. With McLaurin sidelined and Deebo Samuel dealing with minor injuries of his own, the Commanders' offense has found an unlikely hero: rookie running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. This 7th-round pick out of New Mexico has turned into one of the league's biggest surprises, and arguably one of Adam Peters' smartest draft finds. Through 5 weeks, Krosky-Merritt has helped Washington establish the #1 rushing attack in the NFL. His blend of patience, vision, and burst has left defenses gasping for air, and his maturity is drawing praise from veterans. Linebacker Bobby Wagner summed it up perfectly when asked about the young back. He's patient. As a tackler, it's tough when you have a guy like that, because he reads gaps just like you do. As soon as you commit, he finds that crease and hits it. He's special, very mature. That's high praise coming from a future Hall of Famer. And it's true. When the Commanders' ground game is rolling like this, everything opens up. It buys time for Jaden Daniels in play action. It creates space for Deebo Samuel and Luke McCaffrey in the intermediate game. And it allows Washington to control the tempo, something that's become a cornerstone of Dan Quinn's philosophy. But Krosky-Merritt's success hasn't come out of nowhere. It's been built on the foundation laid by 2 players who rarely get credit: tight ends John Bates and Ben Sinnott. In today's NFL, tight ends are often judged by fantasy stats: catches, yards, touchdowns. But in Washington, the position is about something deeper. It's about violence, leverage, and control. And that's where John Bates and Ben Sinnott come in. At 6'6" and 260 pounds, Bates is an old-school tone setter. He's not flashy, but he's been absolutely dominant as an inline blocker. On film, you'll see him sealing edges, burying defensive ends, and paving lanes for Krosky-Merritt to glide through untouched. In fact, when the Commanders run behind Bates on the right side, they're averaging among the highest yards per carry in the entire league. He's essentially a 6th offensive lineman, but one athletic enough to pull and block in space. Then there's Ben Sinnott, the sophomore out of Kansas State. He's the perfect complement: part fullback, part receiver, part wrecking ball. Sinnott's versatility allows offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury to move him all over the formation, at H-back depth, in motion, even split out wide. He's been crucial in creating mismatches and confusing defenses pre-snap. And just like Bates, he's embraced the dirty work with pride. Together, Bates and Sinnott have become the heartbeat of Washington's physical identity. They're the reason the Commanders can run a wide range of schemes, inside zone, outside zone, power, and counter, without tipping their hand. They create space, they set the tone, and they embody the kind of toughness Dan Quinn demands on every snap. When you watch this team now, it's clear that Washington is building something sustainable. This offense isn't built around finesse, it's built around discipline, leverage, and violence at the point of attack. Behind a dominant offensive line anchored by Laremy Tunsil and Sam Cosmi, and with Bates and Sinnott leading the charge, the Commanders have crafted a scheme that keeps defenses guessing. Jaden Daniels' athleticism adds another layer, forcing linebackers to hesitate, opening up lanes for Krosky Merritt and Rodriguez when healthy. The result? One of the most efficient and balanced rushing attacks in football. And here's the beauty of it, that success doesn't depend on any one star. It's collective, it's cultural. It's the product of buy-in from everyone on the roster, from veterans like Von Miller and Frankie Louvu setting the tone in practice, to rookies embracing their roles on Sundays. Of course, the big question remains, when will Terry McLaurin return? While Quinn's optimism offers hope, the Commanders know they can't rush this. McLaurin's value isn't just in his production. It's in his leadership, his connection with Jaden Daniels, and the way he raises the standard for everyone around him. The fact that Washington has managed to keep winning, keep dominating on the ground, and keep its offensive rhythm alive without him says a lot about the depth Peters has built and the culture Quinn is enforcing. When McLaurin returns, whether it's against the Bears or the following week, this offense could take another leap. Imagine pairing this brutal physical run game with McLaurin's precision routes and Deebo Samuel's playmaking abilities. That's a nightmare for defenses.
With Sam Cosmi expected to return soon, maybe even as early as this week, the Commanders suddenly have a crowded interior offensive line room. You've got Cosmi, Paul, veteran Nick Allegretti, and Andrew Wiley as depth options. That leaves Coleman as, well, the odd man out. He's been a healthy scratch for several weeks now, which is never a good sign for a young player on a team trying to compete. But here's the silver lining, and the part fans should pay attention to. Coleman still has value. A lot of it, actually. He's young, he's under a rookie contract until 2028, and he's shown enough raw ability that teams around the league might believe a change of scenery could unlock his potential. This is exactly the kind of situation where general manager Adam Peters shines. Think about it. Peters has already shown he's not afraid to move players before the deadline. Remember last year? He pulled the trigger on a deal for Marshawn Lattimore, turning a need into a strength overnight. Earlier this offseason, he made the blockbuster trade for Laremy Tunsil, giving Washington the elite blindside protector that Jaden Daniels desperately needed. And now, with the Commanders' offensive line depth actually being a quiet strength, moving a young player like Coleman could help the team reclaim draft capital and keep flexibility for next year. So, who could be interested? Let's look around the league. Teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, Tennessee Titans, and Houston Texans are already looking for help on the offensive line. The Bengals in particular are in buy now mode, trying to protect Joe Burrow and stabilize their offense. The Titans are rebuilding and could use a young lineman they can develop. And the Texans? They've already made a surprising O-line trade, sending Cam Robinson to the Browns after he was inactive. If teams are trading for inactives like Robinson, you can bet someone will call about Coleman. Now, what could Washington realistically get in return? Based on recent deals, probably around a late 5th-round pick. Maybe a 5th-rounder if Peters adds a 7th-round sweetener. And while that might not sound like much, it's all about resource management. The Commanders already hold a 1st, 3rd, 5th, 2 6th, and a 7th-round pick for the upcoming draft. They lost their 2nd and 4th in the Tunsil trade for 2026, but picked up an extra 6th from the Brian Robinson Jr. deal. So even a modest trade like this gives Peters more ammunition, and that's exactly how he likes to operate. Here's what makes this whole situation fascinating. It's a blessing in disguise. Because let's be honest, a year ago, nobody thought Washington would ever be in a position to trade away offensive line depth. The line was a major question mark heading into 2025, but now it's quietly become a strength. Credit to offensive line coach Ryan Wendell, who's done a phenomenal job developing chemistry among this group. Credit to the front office for adding the right pieces. And credit to Dan Quinn and Kingsbury for scheming to their players' strengths. Even without Coleman playing, the Commanders have been among the most efficient rushing teams in the league. They've built their offensive identity around toughness, balance, and a dominant ground attack, with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt leading the charge and the tight ends John Bates and Sinat setting the edge every Sunday. That's the part fans should feel good about. This is not a move made out of desperation. It's a move made out of confidence. Confidence that this team is deeper, smarter, and more disciplined than it's been in years. Now let's be real. Moving a former third-rounder this early in his career isn't ideal. It's a tough pill to swallow because you never want to give up on homegrown talent. But this is what competitive franchises do. They adapt. They make proactive moves, not reactive ones. And right now, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are showing that the Commanders are thinking like a franchise that expects to win, not just compete. If Peters pulls the trigger, it sends a message to the locker room and the league. Washington is done holding on to potential. They're building around performance. That's how you change a culture. That's how you build a contender. So, Commanders fans, here's the bottom line. Yes, it's concerning to see Terry McLaurin still on the sidelines, but look closer and you'll see a team that's evolving, a team built to weather adversity, adapt, and win in multiple ways. This is Dan Quinn's vision coming to life. Physical football, smart football, team football. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Washington should rest McLaurin another week to make sure he's fully healthy? And what's your take on the emergence of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, John Bates, and Ben Sinat as the driving force of this offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Commanders HQ. We've got all the stories, all the analysis, and all the passion you need to stay locked in this season. Until next time, stay proud, stay loud, and as always, hail to the Commanders.